want to talk to you about your mom. I think I understand, but you've referred to her as Melody. Do you not call her mom anymore
No.
because of this?
Yes.
Now, up to this point, though, until this occurred, did you get along with your mom?
We had our good days and bad days. We did a lot of stuff together. Because my dad was at the office, and whenever she was home, you know, she liked to decorate the house, and, you know, I did a lot of the projects there at the farm. Like I did the backsplash on the bar down in the basement, and finished out the so-called wine cellar. And she would always be, you know, decorating or wanting to paint something, and so we would do a lot of stuff like that together, and go and get, you know, go to Scottsdale Farms and buy plants to plant out around.
Did your mom graduate from college? Do you know?
As far as I'm aware, no, she did not.
Was she smart? Is she smart?
Not like my dad, but she's not dumb.
Common sense?
Oh, yes.
She hardworking?
You know,
She work outside?
oh, yes, man. All the time we worked in the yard.
She hands-on?
Yes.
Would she get in there and do projects with y'all? Or with you?
It depends on what project. I mean, she didn't help my dad and I do the stone wall between the house and the pond, but she got out there and planted plants and, you know,
Did she
shoveled mulch around.
Did she get her hands dirty?
Yes.
Could she get things done if she wanted to?
Yes.
Would you consider her strong-willed or weak-willed?
Strong-willed.
Does she have opinions?
Oh, yes.
Is she afraid or shy to share those opinions?
No.
Would she have opinions about you?
Yeah, I'm sure.
About her other children?
Oh, definitely. Chris, she kind of favored Emily and definitely Amanda.
How about your dad?
My dad was harder on my brother and I. He was a sucker for my sisters. You know, they're his baby girls. My dad was old school. He, you know, if I remember growing up, if I needed $5, I needed to tell him 5 reasons why I needed it. So.
Is that just how he was?
Yeah, he tried to just, you know, instill discipline in us, make us, you know, a good person, a better person.
Did your dad like things like extravagant things, or what was his taste in? What kind of things did he like? If you said my daddy really liked fill in the blank, what would it be? It's kind of tough. I mean, he always wanted to take care of other people first. He always put everybody else first. He made sure Melody had what she would want to have, and all of us. I mean, he always made it a point to make sure, you know, we all had the best Christmas as possible. And he wasn't really, you know, he drove a Suburban. He drove it until over 200,000 miles, and it was me who convinced him, go buy yourself a Mercedes. I mean, you deserve it. I mean, he wasn't a flashy person, so it's kind of hard to say. What kind of Mercedes did he have?
It was an E-Class.
Tell me what that means. I don't know what that means.
E-Class is kind of your mid-size sedan. He looked at the S-Class, which is the big, fully sized Mercedes, and he was just like, it's just too much car. I don't need that.
How much of those cars cost that he had?
Well, his, I mean, brand new, that was, at that time, probably would have been maybe $60,000, $70,000 car.
What kind of car did your mom have?
Well, she drove Infiniti G35 for the longest time, and then she drove the Toyota Sequoia.
What kind of car did you or vehicle did you have
At which point I've had,
around the time of your dad's death?
I was driving the so-called farm truck, which was a Chevy 2500 diesel, non-dually. It was just a regular back axle. That we didn't have the wide tire ones.
That was your dad's truck. You purchased it.
Yeah, he purchased it, and it was titled for a farm truck for tax write-off, but it was
Sure.
my
So you-
I drove that vehicle.
Your vehicle / the work truck.
Yes.
If I said, what kind of things does your mom like around the time of your death, or the death of your father? Just fill in the blank. What things did she like? What were her things?
What do you mean, and what she liked?
She have expensive things like furniture. What was her things that she really?
Oh,
was particular about?
everything she had was like top of the line, Tory Burch or Chanel or, all high-end clothing. It was,
She liked Christmas trees.
oh yes,
Around Christmas time, would she decorate the house?
yes she would.
Tell the jury how she would decorate the house and how many Christmas trees y'all have.
What? 1, 2, 3. There was about 4 or 5 Christmas trees. She did all the inside stuff. She was very good at it. I will say the Christmas trees we had were something you would see in like a Southern Living magazine. She liked to collect the Christopher Racco ornaments, which is a very sought after ornament because they're hand blown, hand painted.
Say that again. I didn't catch that.
They're called Christopher Racco ornaments.
Okay. Take it they're expensive.
They vary in price. They can range from $10 a piece to several $100s a piece. It just depends because he changed his ornaments every year. That's why they were collectors.
She do things like that.
Oh yeah, she very enjoyed it very much.
Did she have parties for the law office or go to parties for the law office?
I remember, when I was in like middle school and maybe early parts of high school, my dad would have firm Christmas parties at the house. So there would be a lot of people over there, and that kind of ended before I graduated high school.
Did your dad take care of your mom when it comes to things that he provide nice things for?
All the time, yes.
Like, did she have fur coats, mink coats, whatever you call it? Did she have nice clothing?
Yes.
Did she have nice jewelry?
Yes.
She had nice dishes and things like that in the house?
Yes.
Clothing?
Yes.
She liked to shop?
Oh, yes.
Did you give her money so she could shop?
Yes. Well, she had, pretty much our entire life, she always had full access to the bank account. It was just the last 2 or 3 years prior to his death that it got restricted.
Things kind of. How would you describe, at the time of your father's death, how would you describe their marriage to each other?
Not good.
Why so?
Because she was constantly disappearing, taking off, spending an abundance of money. Said she was going to do one thing, and that's not what she was going to do. And they were constantly arguing with each other. Never out in public. It was always at the house. But
Did your dad ever hit her?
no,
Lay a finger on her?
no.
Was he a screamer, yeller, cusser? What was your dad like when they would argue?
I wouldn't really say it's screaming, but he raised his voice, but he never was screaming so hard that someone would lose their voice. He was never like that.
And what was she like?
Oh, she screamed. She definitely, express her feelings in a way, I guess I would say.
What do you mean?
She definitely would scream and cuss and, show aggression.
Who is Ted Wiley?
Ted used to date my Aunt Sherry, which was my dad's sister.
Your dad has how many brothers and sisters? Or had, I'm sorry.
My dad has a older sister, Patricia, then my dad, and then my Uncle John, and my Aunt Sherry.
So what was Ted related? How was he related or involved with the family? So was Sherry.
Ted was dating Sherry.
And what time was this, and about how old were you when this was going on?
If I remember right, they started dating roughly maybe when Amanda was born. So they were together for a very long time. Pretty much all of ours
How
childhood.
many years do you think they were together? You talking about 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever?
Oh, yeah, definitely north of 15, I would say.
And did you see him often?
Every Christmas and Thanksgiving.
And at some point, did you notice something, or did you learn of something going on between him and your mom?
Yes. So when my grandmother, Melody's mother, Kay Walker, when she had a heart attack and had to have open heart surgery, I basically went with her and I helped stay with my grandmother in the hospital, especially when she was in the ICU.
When was this? What year are we talking about?
This is 2005 or 6. So, I was up there for quite a period of time. I ended up, quitting my job at Regal Nissan to, help out, with this situation because my dad was still, working and.
So how long a time would your mom and you be separated from your dad?
We would stay up there for several weeks. It depended on what condition my grandmother was in and all. But for the beginning of it, we pretty much did not leave from being up there. It's once she got out of the ICU and got moved into a more private room, that's when we kind of didn't have to be up there as much.
So this is taking care of your mother's mom,
Yes.
maternal mother, grandmother,
Yes.
and the defendant was there to help her mom, and you were with her.
Yes.
How did Ted come into the picture?
So, Sherry and Ted, they live there in Muscle Shoals, Florence area and all. So, whenever we would go out to eat, we a lot of times went to eat with them. We always went to Logan Roadhouse or somewhere like that. And then after a couple months, I remember the night we went to Logan's Roadhouse and Ted came up and grabbed my mother's rear end like somebody would be doing who's in a relationship, like a full-blown relationship. And that right there triggered. And from there on, she started disappearing. She would leave, say, I'm going to run to the store, and not come back until either very, very early in the morning or till the next day, and leave me stranded with no vehicle.
Did you talk about this to your brothers and sisters? Did they know, or just you?
I think I've probably told Chris. Don't really remember if I told Emily or Amanda. I did get my dad. I told him, I was like, she keeps running off of Ted. And, they keep going and doing things together and leaving me stranded at the hospital or the house with no vehicle.
Would your dad help take care of your mother's mom, your grandmother, her mom? Would your dad do anything financially or anything to help her?
If I remember right, I know he kind of helped. I want to say my grandparents had like a mortgage on the house for some kind of project, something with the foundation or something. I think he kind of took control of paying for that. I don't know if it was my grandmother's money or his money, but he kind of, you know, took controls of the, you know, finance side of the mortgage.
Did you ever know anything about a $50,000 home equity loan or something like that involving Ted Wiley?
No.
Did your parents, because of Ted or anything, did they ever separate or have an issue that you saw?
From what I remembered, it was, by this time I was in the process of joining the Army. I went through basic training, and I was deployed to Iraq within 4 months of coming out of basic training. So I was over in El Paso, Texas, not here. And I do remember I deployed, and I remember getting an email from my dad, and he, you know, stated that he was going to be filing for divorce. I responded with, do what you got to do, but I really don't want to be, I don't need to know anything else. I got too much going on over here.
And that was over Ted?
Yes.
What year was that?
That either had to be 2009 or 2010, so I was deployed to Iraq.
And after you got that email, did your dad ever say anything else to you about what was going on?
No, sir.
Did he follow through any more on the divorce, or was that the last you heard about that?
That was the last I've ever heard about it.